An ordered field it is firstly a field F. So, that would come with a notion of addition and a notion of multiplication, and saying that this is a field means that these addition and multiplication operators satisfy the field axioms that we have just seen. Together with a subset P of F, and you should think of this subset P of F as consisting of the positive elements of the field. So, for example, if F is the field of rational numbers, then this would just be the subset of positive rational numbers. And so, this must satisfy the following properties that are obvious for positive numbers. So, the first is that if you take two positive numbers and you add them up, then you get a positive number. So, what we are saying is that if x and y are in P, then x plus y is again in P. So, this is called closure under addition. The second axiom is that if you multiply two positive numbers, again you get a positive number. These two are rather obvious axioms. The third one is perhaps not so obvious, but of course, when you think about it, it is perfectly clear that this is true for our usual notion of positive rational numbers. It is what is called the trichotomy axiom. So, it says that if x is any element of the field F, then exactly one of the following happens: either x belongs to P or x equal to 0 or minus x belongs to P. So, when I say exactly one, I mean that either x belongs to P, in which case it is not 0, and minus x does not belong to P, or x is 0, in which case it does not belong to P, and of course minus x also does not belong to P, or minus x belongs to P, in which case x is not 0 and x does not belong to P. So, exactly one of these three options is realized. And this is of course obvious for positive rational numbers. For rational numbers, if you have a rational number, either it is 0 or it is positive or its negative is positive. In the last case happens when your number is negative. So, an ordered field is a field with a positive set which satisfies these axioms. And from this we can derive a notion of order on the field. So, we say that x is less than y if y minus x belongs to P. In particular, you can think of the statement x belongs to P as being the same as saying that x is greater than 0. So, I will use x is less than y, this shall be used interchangeably with y is greater than x, all these mean the same thing. And so, this is just an axiomatization of the usual notion of positivity and order that we have on rational numbers. In this context, trichotomy just says, so this third axiom is called trichotomy, and in this context trichotomy says if x and y are in the field, then exactly one of x is either greater than y, x is equal to y, or x is less than y holds. Okay, this is just P3 applied to x minus y. The rational numbers form an ordered field. With the positive set just consisting of, remember we think of the rational numbers as ratios of integers, the denominator being non-zero. So, it consists of those things p over q, those ratios p over q, where p and q are both natural numbers, they are positive integers. And it is easy to check that all these three axioms hold for the rational numbers with this as the set of positive numbers. And I will leave this as an exercise to the student. Sometimes it is also convenient to introduce a slightly weaker relationship of less than or equal to. So, we will say that x is less than or equal to y if, well, literally x is less than y or x is equal to y. And you can replace the notion of a positive set by a non-negative set. Suppose I say p prime is the set of x in f such that x is greater than or equal to 0. Then you can use the axioms p1 and p2 to deduce axioms for p prime. Namely, well, I would call them theorems. They are deduced from the axioms p1 and p2. You can get p1 prime, which says that if x is greater than or equal to 0, that is x belongs to p prime and y belongs to p prime, then x plus y belongs to p prime. And p prime 2 says that if x belongs to p prime and y belongs to p prime, then x y belongs to p prime. It is easy to prove these starting with p1 and p2, because x is greater than or equal to 0 means that either x is positive or x is equal to 0, and you can work with these cases separately and prove and get the right hand side. Now, let me list a few more useful properties of ordered fields. These are all things that are completely familiar to you, you are used to these things, but the point here is that all these results can be deduced simply from the axioms for an ordered field. So, here are some basic properties of an ordered field. Firstly, x is less than or equal to x. This is just from the definition of less than or equal to. X is equal to x, so x is less than or equal to x. This property is formally, it is called reflexivity. The second property is that if x is less than or equal to y and y is less than or equal to z, then x is less than or equal to z. This property is called transitivity. Transitivity of order. The second property F2 is that if x is less than or equal to y and y is less than or equal to x, then yes, as you guessed, it must mean that x is equal to y. This is called antisymmetry. The third property, I have already mentioned this, is that for any pair x and y in f, either x is less than or equal to y or y is less than or equal to x. This is basically another version of trichotomy. And together with this, x is less than or equal to y and y is less than or equal to x implies that x is equal to y. This is precisely trichotomy. Now these 4 properties that I have written here, they form the axioms for order in general. Okay, so you say that a set has order if it has a relation which has these properties. Anyway, let us not worry about that too much, and let us move on and see some properties that are specific to a field. So the first thing that I would like to say here is that if x is less than or equal to y and u is less than or equal to v, then x plus u is less than or equal to y plus v. And the last property that I would like to list here is that if 0 is less than or equal to x less than or equal to y and 0 less than or equal to u is less than or equal to v, then x u is less than or equal to y v. All these properties can be derived quite easily from the axioms that we have written down earlier. Just as an example, let me prove F5 for you. So, to prove F5, I need to show that XU is less than or equal to YV, which is the same as saying that YV minus XU is greater than or equal to 0. So, this is what I need to show. So, let me do this. You can think, so we have YV minus XU. I want to show that this is greater than or equal to 0. I will somehow break it up into a product and sum of things that are greater than or equal to 0. So, I can write this as YV minus XV and then plus XV minus XU. So, these are obviously the same because the plus XV and minus XV cancel out, but the advantage of writing it in this way is that now I can write this as y minus x times v plus x times v minus u. Now, since x is less than or equal to y, y minus x is greater than or equal to 0. We already know that v is greater than or equal to 0. So, this means that y minus x into v is greater than or equal to 0 by p prime 2, what I had called p prime 2 earlier. That if you have two non-negative numbers, then their product is non-negative. And similarly, I have that x is greater than or equal to 0 and u is less than or equal to v, which means that v minus u is greater than or equal to 0. So, x into v minus u is greater than or equal to 0. So, each of these two terms in the sum is non-negative and therefore, their sum must be non-negative. Therefore, y minus x v plus x into v minus u is greater than or equal to 0, and so y v minus x u is greater than or equal to 0, which means that x u is less than or equal to y v. Let us do a couple more simple examples. So, here is another example. If a is greater than 0 is equivalent, that means if and only if minus a is less than 0. And this is very easy to prove. A greater than 0 means that a minus 0 belongs to P, but a minus 0 is the same as 0 minus minus of a, and so 0 minus minus of a belongs to P, which is the same as minus a is less than 0. A slightly stronger statement here is that if you have a greater than 0, b less than 0, then this implies that ab is less than 0. The product of a positive number and a negative number is less than 0. The proof is very similar to what I have done above. I will let you think about it. But it is important that you only use the axioms to prove this, because we are developing the theory of real numbers purely axiomatically, so that there is no ambiguity about what the real numbers are. We do not want to rely on intuition. We want to use, we want to develop mathematics from axioms. Using order, we can also define the notion of absolute value. In any ordered field, if x belongs to f, then I define the absolute value of x to be x if x is greater than or equal to 0, and minus x if x is less than 0. Let me do one more example which will be useful a little later when we start looking at the real numbers. So, a squared is greater than b squared, and a positive implies that a is greater than b. The proof. So, a squared greater than b squared is the same as saying that a squared minus b squared is greater than 0. But now I can factorize a squared minus b squared. So, this is the same as saying that a plus b into a minus b is greater than 0. Now, if b is less than 0, then there is nothing to prove, because a is greater than 0, b less than 0, then transitivity would imply that a is greater than b. So, assuming that b is greater than or equal to 0, we have a is greater than or equal to 0, a is greater than 0, b is greater than or equal to 0. This implies that a plus b is greater than 0. So, if a minus b is less than 0, then by what we did earlier, this example here, we would have that a plus b is positive, a minus b is negative. So, a plus b into a minus b would be negative. Then we would have that a plus b into a minus b is negative, but we have assumed that a plus b into a minus b is positive. So, this cannot happen. So, we must have a minus b greater than 0.